Thanks for listening to another episode of PSL On the Mic, the City of Port St. Lucie's official podcast. We're in the studio today with two of our amazing Port St. Lucie police officers because we've had a dive team for about 6 months now, and we're going to chat about why it was created and how the dive team helps to keep our city one of the safest, the safest large city in the state of Florida. So we're here with almost said lieutenant.
Sergeant.
I bumped you up in rank already. Sergeant John Fazio,
Yes, ma'am.
who's been here before.
Yes, ma'am.
As he was over the K-9 unit. And we're here with Officer Mike Scaringe. Did I say that properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who is a little bit nervous to be on the podcast.
Yeah, not my favorite, but I love it.
But we
I'll
are
be
glad
here.
to have you here. It's
Yes,
just a
ma'am.
conversation. We're going to talk about what you love to do.
Thank you.
This was the first dive team ever in the history of Port St. Lucie Police, which I'm not sure many other departments have this team. It's not a unit, it's a team. So why did we create this? Why did Chief say, hey, this is what we want to do? And how is it helping to supplement? Is there like a gap that it filled, maybe, that why we didn't have a dive team before? So
Yeah.
let's chat about that.
For sure. I mean, it is essential to have a dive team in public safety here in Florida. As you know, we're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
Water's everywhere.
Makes sense.
With the development of land comes gated communities, HOAs, more retention ponds, more bodies of water. Plus, naturally, we have many abundant resources of water, such as the St. Lucie River, the structured C-24, C-23 canalways, and then any other drainage, retention, rainwater runoff. We're just surrounded by water. It's natural here in Florida, and
I'm glad you said that because I didn't even think about all the retention ponds.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many communities here that have them, so including the river, yeah.
And it's sad. It's unfortunate. We do have disastrous situations in some of these neighborhoods when it comes to missing people and children and things like that. So about this time last year, Chief Nimzik has phenomenal visions for this organization, and it's difficult to rely on other agencies for assistance in certain areas because you're at the mercy of their schedule and their response, and then also their structure and how they run their operations. So knowing that we didn't have this vital asset, the chief had this vision that we needed to create our own dive team and be accountable to serve the citizens of Port St. Lucie and every asset or every area that we can to the best that we can. So he wanted to institute the dive team. We were actually able to apply for some grant money on
Nice.
Department of Homeland Security grant. So the majority of the foundation that the dive team was built upon, those monies came from a grant. So it really didn't impact the citizen tax base hardly at all.
That's great.
So we started this project around February of last year, and with that came equipment, procurement. We needed, obviously, a dive vehicle to put all this equipment in and support our operations, diver selections, building the team. There's a lot that went into the infrastructure of building the dive team. So it took us a good 4 to 6 months to actually lay a foundation, have a good baseline, develop policy, accountability standards, response protocols. It's a huge orchestrated operation. And then at about August of this past year, August of 2025, at that time we had 4 public safety divers. And we went live. There was just a small team of us who were public safety dive certified. And then since that time in August to now, we've actually built the team up. We have 6 divers and 4 dive technicians who support the divers and the dive operations from land.
So 6 actual divers,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
then 4
Dive technicians.
dive techs.
They're
Okay.
land-based, so they do everything from the land. They don't get in the water.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's probably really, really helpful.
Yeah, they support everything as far as dressing the divers, getting them in their gear, their gas consumption times, monitoring their vitals and their heart and respiration, to everything, getting them down these embankments. Sometimes we have to use ladders and rigging.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Florida's a very rough terrain per se, and these dive technicians support everything that the divers do, and even bubble watching, making sure that they're still breathing underwater, making sure that we have communication through the full face mask, comm systems that we have. So it's a huge and elaborate performance that we do when we deploy, and it takes a lot. So, like I said, to be able to sustain our own asset of having our own dive team, we can better provide this city and the citizens of how we respond to
Sure.
these situations, rather than having to rely on someone else and someone else's accountability standards and
Makes sense.
professionalism. You know, we truly take professionalism serious here, and that's how, you know, the chief molded this unit and how our divers respond, and that's how we deploy in every situation that we encounter.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you deploy, take us through the typical duties. I know it's search and rescue, but probably evidence recovery and stuff. What exactly do the divers do when they get into the water there?
Yeah, we do a bunch of different things. You know, the main ones are, you know, body recoveries,
Yeah.
vehicle recoveries, evidence recoveries. You know, if somebody throws a gun over the side of the bridge when they're running from the police,
Yeah.
we'll come out and dive for it and look for it. But that's really it. Those are the main ones. You know, we can do like a rescue dive, you know, if a car just went into the lake. We usually have, I believe, about an hour. It's called the golden hour. That gives us an hour to try and get a diver in the water to rescue that person that would be in the vehicle. But then again, it comes down to who's available.
And that's why having your own team
Yeah.
is essential
Absolutely.
Correct.
now, so you don't have to wait on someone else. Who did you usually work with when you needed divers? Was it the sheriff's department or anyone who was available before we had the team?
Yeah, typically the St. Lucie County Sheriff's
Okay.
Office was the closest dive team that was able to respond to our requests.
Okay.
Florida Fish and Wildlife, FWC,
Oh, yeah,
they
I
do
didn't
have a
think about
dive
that.
team as
Yeah.
well.
That makes sense.
And they can assist. They have assisted us recently on a discovery dive that we did looking for a vehicle. So typically it was either the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office or Florida Fish and Wildlife.
Okay. Talk about the training. I've always wanted to get my dive certificate, but I never did it. It kind of scares me a little, but I'm sure that this is a little bit more involved than
Oh, for
just
sure,
a
yeah.
typical, hey, I'm a diver, I dive
Yeah.
recreationally. Talk about the training.
Yeah, diving is an extremely dangerous,
It is.
not only recreational sport, but
Sure,
public safety profession. You know, it only takes a teaspoon of water to drown somebody. It's not a lot. So, you know, and then to add to that, these divers are diving in complete zero visibility water. It's just black, dark, murky water that's filled with snapping turtles,
Gators.
mud
Gators.
turtles, alligators, water moccasins,
Yep.
eels, you know, you name it, catfish. There's all kinds of predation down there that they don't know what we are. So when we're underneath the water trying to work, they're
Yeah.
either trying to investigate us, you know, we're in their land, their territory.
Sure.
So it takes a lot. So what we require, it's really not a lot to get onto the team, because we will provide the training for you and we
Sure.
will send you to the schooling, because it's more than recreational diving. So when we first implemented policy, the only thing that I really required was an open water dive certification through a nationally accredited organization like PADI, NAUI,
Right.
one of those organizations. And then everything else will send you to the public safety diver schools. So all of our divers are ERDI, Public Safety Diver 1 certified. They're all certified in the use of full face mask and dry suits. And then we'll continue advanced training such as oxygen provider, their advanced open water if they wanted that. And then even more as far as entanglement hazards, underwater survival, underwater search and rescue, things like that.
Yeah.
And this is not you also have a full roles as everyday police officers. This is kind of like what you do. I don't want to say on the side, it's part of your job, but you're just not on the dive team. Talk about juggling that.
Yeah, it's difficult. You know, you got to respond for normal calls for service all day during our shift, and you know, if an event, you know, we had to get called out for, you know, let's just say a vehicle recovery or
Sure.
body recovery or something like that. You know, we got to have all of our equipment ready and our cars ready to go, and you know, we just get deployed and you know, we handle the job and do what we have to do. But it's not easy. It's
Yeah.
not easy, but we make it happen.
So you were over the canine unit.
I still am.
You still are.
I am.
Oh, I
So I'm
take that back on what I said.
He's under a lot.
Yeah, I'm the special operations sergeant, so I oversee canine, marine patrol, the dive team, and the bike unit.
Yeah.
So,
Jeez.
yeah. And then most of our other divers, they're all either patrol or detectives. I have one that's
Okay.
a parks officer.
Okay.
So they're ancillary roles to their everyday duties. So, you know, some of my guys, they could be sitting upstairs working a investigative case and in a suit and tie, you know, as a detective.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, they're responding to a scene, getting ready to don their dive gear and
Right.
go, you know, do some type of a recovery. So,
Yeah.
So do you dive as well?
I do.
Are you, have you got in there
Yeah.
and okay?
yeah.
Oh, he is.
Is
Yeah.
it good? Like
yeah.
he knows what he's doing?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
He teaches us.
Yeah, right. I bet.
Yeah, I kind of play the role as their instructor sometimes, but
Yeah, he's good.
you know, it's good. I get to go out there and dive. And in the event there was something where if I had divers on vacation or out of town and
Yeah.
we were very skeleton crew, I can also get in the water and work as well because I uphold all the certifications as them. And
Right.
It helps because I also understand, you know, the needs, the requirements, the safety factors, the accountability, the responsibility, logging, dive logs, and the training summaries. There's a lot that goes into it.
lot.
It's a very intricate operation.
Yeah.
So not only being the boss, but also being a user, an end user per se, it helps understand how important the role is to supervise the unit.
You talked about the environmental hazards of public safety diving. Is there anything that you've encountered in the past, 6 to 8 months, how this has been,
I mean, yeah,
that's scared you? Or, I mean, did you ever encounter gators or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Can you,
Yeah, we've dove in the
this is
St.
kind of a
Lucie River.
personal question because
No,
I
yeah.
want to know about it.
But it's good. It's good for the public to know, you know. And we've dove
Yeah.
in the St. Lucie River with gators around us, and they're, you know,
They're more scared of us.
yeah,
Mostly.
Yeah.
they're investigative. They want to come up and see what you're doing, but they don't want to fight in the water really, unless I mean, you know, you can't always put that past them. There is the potential and the propensity for an alligator to be, you know, an aggressive reptile towards you. But typically they'll swim over, they'll see what you're doing, and then they'll just swim away. I think the scariest thing is when you see a gator swimming towards you, and then they just disappear. You don't know where they are.
That's a good one.
And you still have to go down and work.
And
Yeah.
it's completely black, so you don't.
But we do have protocol for that. We do have our SWAT team snipers that anytime the dive team does deploy, we will call out a sniper and a spotter, and a sniper will come out. And, you know, it's unfortunate. We would never want to have to dispose
of course
or,
not.
or dispatch a gator. But in the event we had a mission to do, like a body recovery or an evidence recovery, we can't stop our mission because of an alligator doesn't want us in his territory. So in the event we did have an aggressive type encounter with some type of wildlife, we do have professionally trained, you know, highly trained snipers on
Yeah.
standby. And there's protocol for that. If we ever did, you know, God forbid, have to dispatch an alligator, we would have to call FWC. They would come out, do an investigation, tag it, and have it properly removed. So it's not like we would just dispatch it and leave it there.
Well, and it's especially important when if a car does go into a canal or the river or something, and you have to get down there right away, and there's a gator.
Yeah.
Like you have to complete your mission.
Yep.
And,
You can't
the
just wait for the
biggest-
gator to leave.
The biggest problem for that, and especially in a body recovery, is if a human does go down to the bottom, the predation comes out almost instantaneously. The turtles want to come out and
think about
start
that.
feeding on it. So we have to get down there quickly to preserve what evidence we can, and you know, for the sanctification of the body, we don't want
Sure.
we don't want to, you know, allow wildlife to just naturally do what they're going to do to it. So yeah, we can't let alligators stop us, and we have to just put our game face on. And well, it's funny because you see this mask here, and most of these guys, you know, you can't see anything anyway while you're down there. It's completely black.
I
You're
mean,
just-
do you light flashlights?
we do,
Like,
we do, but all it
they-
does is make a big glow
It-
around you, and you still
yeah.
can't see. So you just learn to close your eyes, and most
That's
people
what I
either
do.
hum or they sing or they'll whistle, whatever you can do to take your mind off of it.
Yep.
You'll go down to the bottom, just close your eyes, relax. You'll gather your breathing, start to understand how, you know, either box drills or box breathing or any kind of you know, relaxing breathing that you
Yeah.
can do, and then you just begin to work. You feel around, you know.
It's all feel.
You'll feel a turtle bump you or climb up your back,
You don't know
or
what's going on.
fish will come up and peck at you, and you just, you know, you can't let it bother you.
So you, this is fascinating to me. You're literally going down into this black, murky, disgusting, sludgy
Deep
water
water, yeah.
sometimes, deep water, and you close your eyes because, I mean, why keep them open? You can't see anyway. So it's all about feel.
Yeah. What I tend
Gloved
to see
hands
is-
and
Yeah, when I open my eyes underwater, when I go down deep, you almost start to like freak yourself out because you're trying to look, but there's nothing there. So it's easier to just close your eyes and relax and feel around.
you're probably more afraid right now than you are in
Probably. Yeah. I would probably rather be in the water right
Let me
now.
go into the deep, dark down under the
It
water.
does become relaxing.
Yeah.
You go down and it's cold, it's dark, but it's quiet.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
you become almost euphoric in a different world, knowing that you have a mission to do and you're there for a purpose and a reason. And it's very dangerous. Not many people get to do what you do.
No.
And these guys, I'm telling you, I put them in some very, iffy situations sometimes because we have to train like we're going to work. But the professionalism that they exude and the responsibility that they understand that they have to either bring closure to someone or find a piece of evidence that will link someone to a case and get justice for someone, or to make sure that everything that we do has a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how proud I am of this crew and the professionalism and accountability they allow me to hold them to by putting them in these situations. And they're professionals at it. They really are.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to do it without them. Wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Without giving me too many details, is there a memorable dive? Like, was there a situation where it was like one of your first major recoveries, or anything that you can
We just had that
disclose?
recently.
I would say
Yeah.
I'll let Mike talk about it.
The
Okay.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a vehicle recovery over by what was it, Crosstown and Evergreen? Was it Evergreen?
C20, yeah, across town in the
Fairgreen.
C24.
Oh yeah, Fairgreen. Right.
Fairgreen and Crosstown. Yeah, we went out there, like we were saying earlier, FWC. We went out them probably a week prior just to make sure it was a vehicle. And we went out and we dove it, and it was our first vehicle recovery.
Oh, okay.
So it was good.
Okay.
It was a good recovery, but also training in a way. So we all got to be a part of it. All divers went in. All divers were able to go down and rig the vehicle. And then, we used float bags.
Oh yeah, I've seen them do that
Yeah.
with the anchors up in Fort Pierce that they kept finding and parts of the ship. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool.
So we'll attach float bags to the front and back axles,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll fill them with air from land. We have a compressor, so we'll hook up a line, and we'll fill them up, and the vehicle will sometimes come to the top, depending on how embedded it is.
Yeah. How long was the vehicle there? Was there any idea?
We think about 20 years. So
Wait,
yeah.
what?
So that's
Yeah.
why this was very challenging, because
Yeah,
the
it was
vehicle was
tough.
coming apart on us as we were recovering it from the water. It was a 1986 Toyota Supra, and it was
Supra.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Were you
upside-
even born? in that year?
No,
Oh, wow.
he was.
We were.
been in there longer than me. I've been here.
It was upside down. It was buried in the silt, and it was a fisherman that actually found it on his sonar. He got a new sonar for Christmas, was out in the C24 canal trying it out, and he kept
Oh,
going
that's nuts.
over a few, time period of a few days. He
Yeah.
kept seeing it on his sonar, and he goes, "This looks suspicious." So we called. I sent one of my guys out there. They looked at his sonar, and they called me. And they go, "Yeah, Sarge, it looks like a vehicle." So I said, "All right, we'll pull a case number. We'll come out and do an investigative dive." Didn't look like a crash happened anywhere. Like it was
it
there
was-
for a while.
Yeah.
So. Because FWC has jurisdiction over the waterway, we allowed them to dive it first. And they found it. They said it was a car, but we couldn't see inside, so we didn't know if there was any human remains in there, if
Yeah.
it was an old crash site, or if it was just a dumped junk car. We didn't know. They decided they didn't want to do the recovery. They let us do it. But it was a very demanding job, because the car was just so delicate. It had been down there for so long. And we wanted to make sure we didn't have a cold case down there,
Right.
or an old crash victim that never was found. So we had to take our time. We really had to be delicate with it. Again, it couldn't see anything. It took a lot of rigging, strapping, floating, pulling, twisting. It was an all-day effort, and we finally got it out in, I'd like to say, it was a stretched out one piece after
Yeah.
we stretched out all the metals and the frames. And thank God there was nobody inside. There was no
Yeah.
human remains. They're still trying to find a VIN on the car to see if it was even stolen.
Yeah.
But it was a cool development of camaraderie for the team. And not only that, but working with other agencies. We had the fire district out there. We had a tow company, a Coffs Towing was out there to help us. We had an instructor who we met a while back who's a wealth of knowledge. He came out there and assisted in instructing a lot of the divers on how proper rigging takes place. So it was just a monumental
That's great.
moment for our dive team.
That's good.
And it was in a canal.
The C-24
The C.
canal.
Oh, it was in the C-24.
Yeah.
So how deep was it down
I
there?
think that was about, I would say, 12 feet. It was around 12 feet.
And it was there for like 20 years. You're
We're guessing.
estimating.
Estimating, yeah.
Yeah, when FWC dove it to try and get a tag or something off of it, the tag crumbled in their hands. So they were like, yeah, it's probably been in for a long time.
I mean, it was a Supra.
Yeah.
I mean, 1986.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's amazing. Was there any like fish like swimming through it?
Oh, that
or
was-
is-
that-
it
the
was like a reef by that point,
For the
right?
snails and the crabs, yeah.
They were everywhere, yeah.
We served an eviction that day on a whole lot of crabs that were not happy with us when they crawled out of that thing. But
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. You'll have to keep me. I'll see if you find anything out about the car.
yeah, I'll
I
reach out
mean,
to our detectives.
Yeah, that was really cool. So how has the community responded to? Have you heard anything positive, negative, which I can't see, but has I know the media had done a few stories a few months back. Have you received any sort of feedback
Yeah.
from the
They love
community?
it.
Yeah.
We're on the front of a magazine.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, the
that's
two of
I
us,
saw
okay.
that. Yes,
So,
Stewart
yeah,
Magazine,
they
Port
love
St.
it.
Lucie Magazine. Yeah.
Whenever we're doing a dive, even training,
Mm-hmm.
you can just see people in the distance gathering around and watching, and it's kind of cool because it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
And we embrace that. When
Yeah.
we were doing that dive at the canal, our PIOs do a phenomenal job,
Mm-hmm.
and they put out that we would be doing a training exercise because we used it as a training
Sure,
exercise.
makes sense. Yeah.
And we welcome the public to come out and watch. Unless it becomes a traumatic crime scene, obviously we'll give dignity to our victims and push people back
Right,
if we
of
have
course.
to. But if it's not a traumatic crime scene and it's something that I'd like to say it's kind of like a work of art for us, and we're out there very strategic in what we do. By all means, as long as they provide us a safety barrier and stay at a safe distance. And we were doing a mission in the St. Lucie River at the boardwalk of the Port District,
Right.
behind Botanical Gardens back there, and that's when we had a bunch of alligators in the water with us. But we had divers in the water. I was up on the boardwalk instructing part of the operation. And man, the people just came out and they're like, "Wow, this is incredible! I didn't know Port St. Lucie had a dive team. I didn't know the police department had a dive team." And they were just astounded. And a lot of them were like, "This is great! We publicly get to learn more about the police department." So we like to train in open public places. Sometimes we will go to confined areas if we have to do something that's we're still learning or figuring things out. But the public has been absolutely great.
awesome.
We had some Facebook posts about the dive team, and I know people had put some comments on their concern because I think one of the pictures is the divers were in wetsuits and not dry suits. They were only in wetsuits because we were diving clean salt water at that time, just doing some equipment regulation. But I want to make sure the public understands that our divers are very well protected. They're all purchased DUI dry suits that keep them fully encapsulated from water exposure, and that includes bloodborne pathogens, contaminants, fertilizers, amoebas, any kind of vehicle leakage as far as gasolines, hydraulic
Oh, yeah.
fluids, things that can burn your skin. Our divers are outfitted with the best protective equipment that you possibly can have, and that goes from their dry suits to their full face masks to the gloves that they wear, the breathing apparatuses that they have, their comm systems, and then we have a fully established decontamination protocol that we have to go through. So we monitor gas times, and we actually give them a stopping point where your air pressure can only go down to a certain point.
Right.
Because
Sure.
the divers still have to come out of the water under air, breathing out of their full face mask until they can go through a full decon process and get the majority of those contaminants off. And it's a top to bottom triple wash.
And that's
with,
probably not on site. You have to go somewhere for that.
we try to do it on site.
Oh, okay,
We
okay.
carry steramine and
Okay.
water and stuff on the rig. We have fire hoses that we can hook up to fire hydrants if we have to. We'll do everything on site. If we don't have adequate access to water, we'll call St. Lucie County Fire District to bring either a brush truck or a pumper with fresh water.
Okay.
But they go through a full decontamination process before they can even take their equipment off.
Okay.
So, and then we do logs on the them. The divers get medical checks every 6 months to make sure that we're, not exposing them to anything harmful. And if we do have an exposure, it's immediately reported. They immediately go for blood work and testing and a monitoring period.
I'm glad you brought up equipment because I wanted to talk about the truck too, because that's not a new truck. You've created that from an ambulance, I believe, right?
Again, St. Lucie County Fire District. I grew up with a guy who's a battalion chief there now, and we went to school together way back in the day. So I call him, and I know he runs their fleet up there. And I said, "Hey, Chief, do you have anything that I can turn into a dive truck? I'm putting together this dive team." And he says, "Well, I have an old ambulance that it's still in great shape.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But by mileage, they have protocol on their rescue rigs and equipment. By mileage, we have to decommission it and replace it, but it's still in good condition." So I said, "Well, we're not going to be using it every day as an everyday or daily driver. It's just going to be to support dive operations." We went up there, looked at it. I fell in love with it. It was perfect because literally, if you think of an ambulance in the back, it has benches. It's air conditioned in the hot months. It's heated in the cold months, so I can either cool off my divers or warm up my divers. There's privacy back there. They can change in and out of their wetsuits or dry suits. They can change back into their regular clothing. And it's still fully serviceable with oxygen. So if I ever had a diver emergency or decompression illness, I can immediately start providing oxygen to my divers until St. Lucie County Rescue can get there to take them to the hospital. So it was perfect. They donated it to us.
That's awesome.
Chief Nimzik and the fire chief, had a little correspondence, and they donated the vehicle to us. We got the paint job pretty much donated. They painted it white for us. We striped it, and now it's our fully operational dive center.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Officer Scaringe. You both recreationally dive. When you go out recreation diving now, just for fun, is it different now that you also do it as part of your job?
I would say it's more.
Is it like a more relaxing?
Yeah,
atmosphere?
it's way more. It's way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. It's nice now.
Yeah, because if you go to the Blue Heron Bridge, where you could actually see things, it's not dark.
Yeah.
It's
and our dry
wonderful.
suits, when we have to wear our dry suits, they're not. I'm gonna be honest, they're not comfortable. They're very.
What's the difference between a dry and a wet suit?
So the wetsuit's a normal neoprene wetsuit.
What you mostly see people wearing when they dive. Okay.
Yeah. So that's for just a normal recreation dive and keep you warm.
Yeah.
Protect you a little bit if you're maybe lobstering or whatever. Dry suit keeps you completely dry. So you get into it and it completely seals you on every end. And what that does is, like you were saying earlier, just protects you from everything that could be out there. But it's the way I kind of can explain it. It's basically like you put your hand in like a Publix shopping bag, and then you'd put that in water. Put your hand in water, and it would like suck to your hand.
Okay.
So that's kind of what it feels like on us.
So it's restrictive.
It's very restrictive, really tight. So we can add some air to it, but I try to add little air as possible because.
You want to be protected.
And not only that, but you don't want to go upside down.
You don't want to become a big bubble.
Yeah, you don't want to become a big bubble. Because then you're, if you go upside down or something and the air goes to your feet, you're kind of, which we are trained to get back to normal, but you'll be upside down for a little bit. You can't get upright.
You don't want that.
No. But yeah, it's definitely more enjoyable recreational dive now.
I could
It
imagine.
does make you a better recreational diver because you understand the safety now.
Correct.
Yeah.
But prior to public safety diving, when you just go recreation, you don't, you do your double checks and your safety checks and you check your buddy.
Maybe
But
the
now,
first couple times.
but now it's like we're checking everything
Yeah.
because you don't really understand how quickly things can go south.
Yeah.
Especially recreational diving when you're at 80 feet, 90 feet, 100 feet. Typically we're only diving in about anything higher than 25 to 30 feet is your most average your retention pond here, your canal here. Recreationally, you could be 65, 80, 100, 120. It's a long way from the bottom to the top. And the propensity for decompression illness and, your nitrogen exposure increases. So there's a lot. But we, usually once or twice a year, we'll go and actually do a recreational dive as a team.
Have fun together
Yeah,
as a
'cause
team,
it's good for our equipment. The salt water washes everything out, gets all the contaminants truly out of it. It's good for us just to actually practice our buoyancy control in clean water where we can see. And that's the
Yeah.
other thing. Sometimes we do like to practice where we can actually see things. So
Correct,
when
yeah.
we can't see, we at least know the nomenclature of our gear and how it works. So,
We'll take off our mask underwater when it's clear
Yeah.
to practice it. And
we have to practice a lot of,
Make sure
equipment failure
everybody,
drills, mask drills, regulator failures, things like that. So there's
When do you set aside training for it? Do you train weekly? Do you train
monthly.
Monthly? Okay.
We
And-
try to train monthly.
And there's a set place where you go to do this, or
Yeah, typically, so the Treasure Coast Public Safety Training Complex,
Oh,
which
okay.
is Indian River State College's
Right.
police academy.
Yep.
They have a dive lake up there.
Oh, cool.
Okay. That's blocked off from the public, so we can pull all of our equipment out, set everything out there, and it's a great lake. There was a fuselage of an airplane in there.
took that out.
The guys took out a few months ago because it was just old and unsafe. But there's platforms submerged in the water down there. We can put vehicles in there if we have to. We throw, these guys will tell you, I make them all turn around and I'll take a decoy gun and I throw it out there and I go, all right, nobody's going
Gotta go
home until we
find
find
it.
the gun.
Yep.
And we'll be out there sometimes 15 minutes and sometimes 3 hours looking for that gun.
Yep.
So we do
Wow,
we do
that's
typically
training.
train up there at the dive lake at IRSC, and they're
Okay.
very gracious to us. There's no limitations to it. So they're actually going to put some money into it for us as far as a new pavilion and bleachers and things like that,
Yeah.
fans, some electric.
Cool.
So
awesome. Are there any plans? Now, I know you started with 4 divers, but now you have 6.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you need more? Are you planning on expanding? What's maybe the evolution of the dive team in the next, say, like 5 years?
yeah, I would like to. I mean, 6 is a good baseline, but as we know, people take vacation.
Yeah.
People get hurt and go on light duty. An officer may go out on paternity leave, things like that. Things happen, know, and sometimes it's more than just one. It could be 2 or 3 at a time. So I never want to be in a position where we can't
Yeah.
fully function at a mission or a response, and I always want to be able to provide, as much essential resource to the community as we can. So it is a little bit of a cost, to outfit a diver. This equipment is not cheap, but for a reason. It protects their lives.
course.
And so it does take a little bit of money to outfit the divers. So I would like to increase from 6 divers, maybe, I don't know, in the near future, hopefully up to 10 possibly. And then with my dive technicians, I currently have 4. I may try to increase those to like 6 or 8. Because the dive technicians, it doesn't cost anything other than, a shirt, a pair of waders, and a life jacket.
Right.
It's very minimal.
And they're also PSLPD officers?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they are. And same thing, they have ancillary duties as well. So it's not their full-time job. But, if I can get to a team of 10 divers and maybe 6 or 8 dive technicians, I think that would be a comfortable, number to work off of. It's a good platform.
Okay, good.
So,
One last question. What do you love most about this? Being on the dive team, and what do you love most about it? What, besides your regular duties as a police officer, what do you both like about the kind of adventure part of this, of being on the dive team?
I would say I love just being able to, like we were saying earlier, being able to, like if there was a body recovery, okay, and we're able to either save that person or recover them for that family.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But as far as, I just love being in the water personally.
Yeah.
So I just enjoy being in water. So it's just great for me. But what do you think?
Sergeant Fazio?
Yeah, so for me, I can tell you, I'm in my 21st year of law enforcement here at the Port St. Lucie Police Department, and literally this organization has been my home since I've been a kid. Even before I was a cop, I was a police explorer here way back when. So I've spent my entire life here at this agency, and I've been a part of a lot of implementations of special projects and units and various different units. So to be able to help structure and support the vision of the chief and build a team and get that team operational and up and running, because I'm not going to be here forever, and to be able to have a good baseline and platform and then pass that down to someone else to continue to build the future. That's what's important to me. Like, I love supporting the operations. I love making sure that these guys are held accountable and that they serve the city with extreme professionalism. And I truly enjoy that. I get the privilege to serve the dive team and the chief of police and his vision, and my other command staff, my lieutenant, my captain, they afford me a lot of freedom and the abilities to do what I love to do. And I do have a lot of, passion along with the experience that I have in it. So for me, it's a cool part that, our city is growing. It's growing fast. It's growing rapidly. Our police department is, doing everything they can to keep up with the growth of the city. But we're also doing a phenomenal job. And the fact that we are able to build these types of units and have men like, Mike and my other divers support the missions that we have to endure every single day. I think that's the coolest part of my job.
Yeah, and it all comes down to us keeping us the safest large city in Florida. It's all about our
100%.
residents, and this is just another notch on our belt to do that. I think,
absolutely.
and not a lot of agencies have a dive team, so I think it's part of Chief's vision.
Yeah.
When I was interviewing him, we were just talking about it's more than a year now that he's been
Oh, yeah.
chief. You could tell that he had a path of where he wanted to take the department, and I think
right.
he's doing a fantastic job of that.
And there's a lot more than this. There's so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at our real-time crime center that's coming on, our drone as a first responder,
Yep.
our full-time Marine patrol. I mean, you have a lot of podcasts ahead of you, Maureen.
I
God
know.
bless you.
Hey, that's good. I'm excited. It's
It
awesome.
really is. But when we say that we're a premier organization,
Yeah.
I trust the public, believes us when we say that we're a premier organization, because we truly do deploy and respond every single day to support this community with professionalism, for one, and extreme accountability on our staff. So it's a cool gig, and being a public safety diver is not something that everybody gets to claim.
Yeah.
It's far and few between. Just like when we did the canine, being a canine handler is not something that everybody gets to do. So
Oh, and that's for life.
yeah,
That's
these
it.
guys should be proud that they're the
Yeah.
very first,
Definitely.
documented, historic dive team in Port St. Lucie, and it'll carry on for the longevity of the police department, and
Yep.
that's cool to know. It's cool to see.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in. Can't wait to talk about the Marine unit in a couple
Yes,
months.
yeah.
So good luck out there. Be safe, and we thank you for everything that you guys do.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Maureen.
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
having us.
Thanks.